Hi YouTube, welcome back to another video. So today's video was something that I wanted to share, but it was impromptu in the fact that today is no makeup Tuesday. I did not feel like it. I have no plans to go anywhere. I know what I look like with or without makeup on, and isn't that all about self-acceptance and being okay in your own skin? I have not hid the fact that me and my skin have a complex relationship, and we are continuing to get to know each other through these 34 years and change and needs and all the things. And so here it is, here I am. But I think it's funny how we continue to find ourselves led to things and we don't even know why or where we're going with it. And point being, I was on Amazon and I was down the rabbit hole with suggestions, and then this book popped up. And what drew me to the book was the dragonfly, the birds, and obviously the signs, right? And it is the secret language of the universe. I've never heard of Laura Lynne Jackson, but something prompted me to buy this book. And it was immediately an emotional roller coaster in a good way of all the stories and signs that are around us that we don't even know to notice, to explore the meaning, to really get a sense of, what the universe is trying to tell us. And not just the universe, but this touches on people that have passed, our ancestors and loved ones, however you want to call it. And, it's definitely pulls at your heartstrings because, say, for example, if I had lost one of my children, I would really be struggling with the meaning behind why this had to happen, what I'm supposed to get from this experience, and grieving the loss of a child. And so she shares so many different stories, and she is a psychic medium. And one thing about that is that, if you were raised like me from a Christian background, from a Christian home, we were always taught to believe that there were so many things that were dark, bad, evil, and certain knowledge and dibbling and dabbling, opening things up, reaching to the other side, all those things were just not good. And the older I got and the more I started asking questions that I never knew the answer to after all my years in church, after owning a Bible and praying and doing all these things the Christian way, I found myself really being more open to other means of spirituality, not religion, because we know that religion is man-made, but spirituality is a more pure connection to God, universe, and what it is that we're all striving for as a people. Now, what begins to happen is if you're from Asia and I'm from West Africa, if you're from the islands and someone else is from Egypt, you know what I mean? If you're from Norway and someone else is from Ecuador, though we all share a human experience, we are all beautifully different. And it is no one's responsibility to then pit each of us against each other and say you are right and I am right and you are wrong, or vice versa, because we are so beautifully different. Because our cultures, our languages, our traditions, and even the things that we do that are only native to where we're from cannot be the same, just all based off common sense, just based off of geography and all the things. So I began to have a more wider understanding and an appreciation of our vast and beautiful differences. And I began to pull away from traditions that were simply placed on me because of what had happened through slavery. Point blank period. I began asking, who would I have been? What would I have practiced, studied, and believed had I not been a descendant of the slave trade? And many of us were from the West African region. Many of us. Not all, but many. So getting back to the roots of that began to then give me the permission and take away the guilt of thinking that things are dark and bad and evil because they are of nature, because they are things and messages and signs, as the book suggests, that honestly just come from God. And if you believe that at the pillar of God is the creation, whatever you decide to call God, and that God created the world, then how can it be that the signs that come from that power are bad? Okay? And where does the symbolism and the meaning come from? Not from man. You see what I'm saying? So that gave me the permission to be more open and not fear these things. And then it led me to a lifestyle of trying to decide how far I was going to allow this to bleed into my identity, and what is identity? What is being my authentic self? What does that look like? What does that sound like? And also to realize that I wasn't the only one. There were white women coming into their own understanding, their own spirituality, their own authentic ownership of their culture, their practices. And they were questioning, okay, how does that tie into who I show up in the world? And here I am as a Black woman in America in the 20th century, questioning, okay, wow, what does my spiritual path and calling, how does that tie into my identity and how I show up? Because it ain't easy to break away from the common mold. It ain't easy to say, I'm going this way. I'm learning this. I'm exploring that. I am pulling away from what has just been given to me just out of sheer habit and not understanding, and not from a place of being authentic to who we are as a people. And again, her journey, the example I just gave in my journey, are still one and the same because we're doing the same thing. We're trying to get back to the roots, get back to how this thing was always supposed to be. And the beauty in it is that our goal was never to be against each other, but to have the same joy, success, peace, abundance, and a connection to the divine source, God, creator, earth, nature, all these things. When you boil it back down to how the first people lived and communed, then comes jealousy, then comes seeking power, war, control, men and all their baggage, not in a negative way, but we know that they led a lot of these things, so here we are exploring these different things. And I'm telling you, this book was such an eye-opener for me, because this is what it made me arrive to. I'll use for example, if I learn that the sign of a rainbow, seeing a rainbow, represents hope, new beginnings, a message from a loved one, an ancestor, among other things. So the rainbows are very loaded with their meanings and the symbolism, right? So if I see a rainbow and I believe that is what that represents, and I'm looking for a rainbow, expecting rainbows, because they give me that feeling of warm and fuzzy, like this is confirmation, this is a reminder that, say, my grandmother is real, still alive, still present, that God is still God no matter what. Is it because I'm co-creating, Or is it a coincidence? Because either way, guess what? I have set that thought out there, and I am either now noticing rainbows everywhere and they're coming to me, or it is in fact truly a sign that comes into my life for me to remind myself what I know to be true. So either way, it is for me. And that is a powerful thing to recognize, because this book had so many examples of how animals can represent certain things, birds, butterflies, the power of numerology, coincidences, synchronicities, all these things can mean something to you if you ask for the signs, or you need the signs, or the signs were already coming to you and you didn't know that they were signs, and so you asked to now see the signs and understand the signs, because they could have been right in front of you and you didn't know what they were. You didn't know what they meant. You didn't know what was going on. And you might have thought it was strange. You might have I just didn't know. I mean, you see how this book has how many pages? Almost 300 pages. Almost 300 pages of story after story after story. So it's all true. That brings me to believe it is all true, that you can either, it is happening whether you co-create it or not, whether you notice it or not, whether you realize it or not. And just like we can't stop nature, the seasons, we can't, not that we're trying, but these things are going on around us with or without us. We're all going to die whether you want to or not. You were born whether you wanted to be born or not. So now it becomes a thing of, understanding and delving into why you were born. What is your purpose? Or what are you going to create your purpose to be? Who are you meant to be? Who do you want to be? What are you supposed to do here? What is important? What you know what I mean? That ties into us giving ourselves permission to continue to write our own stories. And I've never been against Christianity. I've never been against when I think back on how my parents raised me, how their parents raised them, and what Christianity did. It's not a fault. It's not a negative thing. To me now, I settle with Christianity to be a byproduct of all of the original things we used to do anyway. It's just changed shapes, and it's basically been mutated in so many words. It's been warped, and it's become this new religion that, though it contains so many truths, it is far from what the original used to be. And I struggled with asking those questions and delving into the origin of a lot of things. And I would say I'm not out the broom closet yet, so to speak. I'm not fully there where I don't think I would fully be comfortable with saying, well, I've denounced this and I've denounced that, and this is what I believe and why I believe it, because it does open up a can of worms, and it does open up a level of, now you have to position yourself to be defensive and to re-educate. And who wants to have that debate? I don't have the energy for it when I'm still learning and I'm still coming into my own. And I think also too that religion versus spirituality is a very personal and private matter. I think it is a path that we all have to decide what that is for yourself. So someone else could be watching this and say, well, I'm interested in life coaching. I like, horses, and I'm a mom, I'm a single mother, but I've chosen the Wiccan path, or I'm exploring being a Buddhist, or I'm Catholic, or I am a Christian, or whatever. Okay, great. We can also come together with the common core that we are mothers, or you do ride horses, or you are going through a life shift right now. The beauty in this is that you can confidently and authentically know what works for you, what is meant for you, and that you're exploring that, and that you're asking these questions. And if Christianity or any type of religion works for you, then great, because guess what? The power is still in our mind. The power is still in what we believe, what we manifest, what we write, what we say. Hi, TT. What we see as signs back to the rainbow. So if you see a rainbow and in your faith the rainbow represents God's promise to never flood the earth again, then that still is for you. And a flood may represent something that is going to devastate you to the point where, it is the end. And it's never the end, right? It's never truly the end, because we know that life continues on outside of this shell, this exterior little cocoon that we're in, because you are energy and you are a soul. You are the wind, you are rain, you are all of these elements, you are lightning, you are thunder, and these things cannot be contained, nor stopped, nor controlled, and there is no beginning and there is no end until God says so. And the day that God sets all this and says, all right, that's enough of that, we will all know it. It got started in a sense, and it can be ended, but for right now, we are on this cycle. We do have the seasons and the elements within our life through nature. They are never ending, in a sense that there is no question that it's going to go fall, winter, spring, summer. So that's what I mean by they're never ending. And that's a beautiful thing that we can all agree on. The issue is when it becomes a dogma and it becomes like I said, a persecution type of thing where, you feel the need to come into my home and tell me I am wrong, take away my rights, try to change me, control me, take away traditions, take away language and all these things, the culture, the richness of what it is that I want to practice within the privacy of my four walls and in the privacy of my heart and my soul. Because you care about my salvation, if we can use that as in, what happens to me when I die. I could go to this place because I did not worship like you worship. I'll use this example when I think about my children. My children are unique within themselves, but they all come from you. No two children are alike, right? So if one child colors you a picture and says, Mommy, this is for you, I love you so much, you say, thank you so much. The other child can't draw. Don't draw. But that child says make some Lego sculpture or something at school that has Play-Doh or clay or whatever, and brings it to you and says, Mommy, I made this for you. I wanted you to have this because I love you so much. And you say, thank you so much. You don't cast away one child's love offering, I guess, or gift, because it's not the same as another child's gift. That's how I kind of envision this whole thing of what's going on, boiled down. If Mother, Father, God, the divine, the universe, it goes by so many different names, because we're all different. You call your father, Father, I say Daddy. You call your mother, Ma, I say Mommy. You call your mother, Madre, over here they call them, okay? The parenthood, the source. How can then a parent have a favorite? Parents don't typically have favorites. There is no one way to show love, adoration, and appreciation to your parents. Your parents accept you and each child being different and unique. And the same as I see it in with how this thing is set up on here on earth. Now what happens is kids can fight amongst themselves and get jealous and say, no, I'm the favorite and Ma likes mine more. And, that has been boiled down to be the issue over all these millennia, all these centuries of fighting and bickering. And again, this world dominant stuff. But it's very simple. And, there can be peace. There has been peace. There will be peace. And I think it begins with a witch and a Christian being friends. I believe that it starts with, us respecting each of our paths that we're called to, at the end of the day, just try to be better people, have our own individual success, and, and then come back communally as mothers, as women, as Americans, on and on and on. There's a broader umbrella And the wider the umbrella goes, the higher and broader we get, if that makes sense. So there's you, but then you fit into this, and then you also fit into this, and then you fit into this, and you fit into this, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's kind of where I've been. And I wanted to share that because it is really scary to, again, allow yourself the permission to branch out and explore different practices, spiritual texts, knowledge, signs, symbolism, understanding, what it means to really walk in your power, create the life that you are meant to have, finding God, finding all of these things. It's okay, and you're not alone in that. That is my speech. And this book, again, it isn't about religion. It isn't about, oh, she practices this, so the book is leading you to see the signs through her eyes, through her chosen religious path. It's not about that. It's about how universal applies to everyone. You see what I'm saying? And then I think that was a beautiful thing. So this was an impromptu book review. I see 11 a lot. I've always seen bald eagles, hawks, cardinals, dragonflies, hence the channel name, 11, lately rainbows, just in the strangest way. And I just had to be more receptive and like, okay, what does this mean? And so it's been really exciting. Good luck to you if you are on a path of, exploring your soul path and who you are meant to be on a spiritual level. And until the next one, peace. Bye.